Senator Honorable Boris Payne, expressing his solidarity
नेपाली दूतावास क्यानबेरा
with the Australian
महामारी
government
दूतको कार्यालय न्यू साउथ वेल्स र गैर आवासीय नेपाली सिंह अस्ट्रेलिया र यहाँ रहेका विभिन्न गैर सरकारी नेपाली सामुदायिक संस्थाहरूको सहकार्यमा अहिले न्यू साउथ वेल्सको पार्लियामेन्ट हाउसमा भिजिट नेपाल 2020 को औपचारिक रूपमा घोषणा हुन गएको छ। यो न्यू साउथ वेल्सको भव्य हलमा खास गरी अस्ट्रेलियाका विभिन्न राजनैतिक दलका नेतृत्वहरू, त्यसपछि विभिन्न ट्राभल एजेन्टहरू, पर्यटन प्रवर्धकहरू, नेपाली समुदायका अगुवाहरूको यहाँ उपस्थिति रहेको छ। यो कार्यक्रममा विभिन्न विशिष्ट व्यक्तित्वहरूले पनि सम्बोधन गर्ने कार्यक्रम रहेको छ। र अहिले भर्खरै अस्ट्रेलियामा जुन डढेलो अथवा बुसफायरबाट भएको धनजनको क्षतिप्रति श्रद्धाञ्जली व्यक्त गर्दै 1 मिनटको मौन धारणको कार्यक्रम सम्पन्न भएको छ र अब चाहिँ विधिवत रूपमा यो कार्यक्रम अगाडि बढेको छ।
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to move on to our formal proceedings for this evening. Distinguished guests, friends of Nepal, and members of Nepali diaspora who is here with us today. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank the Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation of Nepal, Honorable Yogesh Kumar Bhattrai, for coming to Australia and grace this evening. To acknowledge the presence of our Ambassador of Nepal to Australia, His Excellency Mr. Mohesh Raj Dahal. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Councillor Philip Roddock, Mayor of Hornsby, and the former Immigration Minister of Australia. In the same way, we have Nathan Rees, former Premier of New South Wales. We also have Honorable Henry Sang, former member of Legislative Council and Parliamentary Secretary of New South Wales. We also have Councillor Robert Cook, Councillor of the City of Sydney, representing the Lord Mayor of the City of Sydney. Former member of the New South Wales Legislative Council. We are happy to have Mr. Paul Wodesky, Assistant Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Australia. We also have Ms. Fiona McGrew, Director of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. I'd like to acknowledge our helping hand and representing Nepal in different cities of Australia. We have Honorary Consul Generals, Honorary Consul General for New South Wales, Mr. Deepak Kumar Khorka, Honorary Consul General for South Australia, Mr. Deepak Kamala, for Western Australia, Fred Brown. For Brisbane, Joseph Anthony Tuma. Thank you all of you for traveling all from your respective cities to attend this program in Sydney. And we have Simon Balston from Australian Himalayan Foundation, Chairman of Australian Himalayan Foundation. Of Non-Resident Nepali Association, International very important person, President of Non-Resident Nepali Association, Australia. In the same way, we have Ganesh Taman, President of Nepali Society, Australia. Ramesh Pandey, President of Overseas Nepali Forum, Australia. Vishnu Hamal, President of NRC, National Recreation Committee. We have a beautiful one, a senior member of Nepali diaspora. We have some prominent Nepali community leaders, Mr. Bhavani Oli, Mr. Naren Pradhan. In the same way, we have Dinesh Pokhel, the regional coordinator for Oceania for Visit Nepal 2020. Very important one. We have Zoom. In the same way, we have Dev Gurung, Vice President of Non-Resident Nepali Association. And then we have Arun Thakur, NRNA ICC member, and Mr. Mahesh Prasai, founding member, founder of Vision for Motivation. In the same way, we have Madhu Purasainu, President NAA, Siva Chester, President of Guti, Australia. And we have one representative from New Zealand as well, Mr. Dinesh Khadka, President of Nepal New Zealand Society. He's from all the way from Auckland. And we have Ramesh Paudel, Overseas Nepalese Forum, representing in Brisbane. We have prominent Nepali leader, Mr. Goga Kotwal, Durva Subedi, and Mr. Mahendra Modi, the past president of Non-Resident Nepali Association. We have Sandhya Saha, coordinator of Nari Nikunda, and we have friends from media, Mr. Hemanta Kafle, president of Nepalese Journalist Association, and in the same way we have Rishi Acharya, Naren Khadka, Thank you for joining today. And we also have Dharma Adhikari, former regional coordinator for Oceania, and Lakshman Shrestha, president of Nepalese Fenor Society. And we have beautiful Ranju Wage Thapa, former spokesperson of Non-Resident Nepali Association. Neeraj Shrestha from ECA, Maybe Pachuram Adhikari, the president of ECA. And Anil Thapa Mogal, president of the Society Australia. And we also have Mr. Kim Sharma, who has recently led a delegation to Nepal on the occasion of Visit Nepal 2020. He is also coordinating a campaign who wish to visit Nepal in 2020. He will have some package and he will just lead a delegation again. And we have Miss Janice, Janice Reed, Rotary Club, from Rotary Club International, and very good friend of Nepal. Thank you. And we also have some more friends from area, Chiranjeevi Dekota from MNTV. All the members of Nepali, all the friends of Nepal, members of Nepali diaspora, please forgive me if I forget some of your names or all of your names I couldn't take here due to the limitations of the time as well. And without further ado, I would like to move on to the other segment of the program. Now I request our Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Honorable Yogesh Kumar Bhattrai, to come in the front and to have the panelists to officially inaugurate the program. Thank you once again. Now, can I request to play the national anthem of Nepal, followed by national anthem of Australia. May I request all the distinguished guests to stand for a few minutes for the national anthem of both Nepal and Australia. To invite the Ambassador of Nepal to Australia, His Excellency Moez Raj to deliver his welcome remarks and welcome to the guests and briefly highlight about the events and how the Visit Nepal 2020 campaign is celebrated in Australia.
Good evening. Honorable Minister of Tourism, District Administration of Nepal. I have a few guests. distinguished guests, former Premier, former Minister, Parliament Member, former Parliament Member, the representatives of debate, and all honorary consulate general, the representatives of International Vice President, NRA, Vice President, NRA National President, all community friends of Nepal, and invited and guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this beautiful event, which is going to organize Nepal Embassy on the occasion of Visit Nepal 2020 inauguration ceremony. We are soft to see the variable bushfire in different states of Australia, including NSW, Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia, and their impact on human life, property, and wildlife. I express my deepest sympathy to the families who lost their ones and appreciate the works of firefighters, volunteers, and community members in the time of need. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you in this beautiful evening. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Attend today's reception on the occasion of launching of Visit Nepal 2020 and making the evening more beautiful by your presence. I express my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Minister Yogesh Kumar Bhattrai for sparing his valuable time to travel to Australia and grace this event despite his busy schedule. I am confident that the tourism sectors of Nepal will take a leap under your dedicated and enthusiastic leadership. Distinguished guests, Australia is one of the reliable development partners, and we are indeed very grateful to the people and government of Australia for their love, affection, and support to Nepal since long. Around 40,000 Australians visit Nepal every year. As we are celebrating the Visit Nepal 2020, we want more Australians to visit Nepal and get imagine experience for their lifetime. Nepal is unique for many reasons. Unique natural beauty, unique culture and the most hospitality people, mountaineering, trekking, hiking, sightseeing, spirituality, pilgrimage and advanced activities are some of the tourism genres that we offer. Despite having emerged from desires of tourism, Nepal has now come on track of economic development. The country, which was hit by the devastating earthquake of 2015, has now fully recovered and is safe to travel. Distinguished guests, Honorable Minister, the present government is focusing on economic development of the country with the Nepal Happy Nepali and the Visit Nepal 2020 has been taken as a part of it. We request the friendly people of Australia to visit Nepal and support in our development in the world. We are happy that we have a big Nepali diaspora of more than 100,000 here in Australia, who have been promoting culture and image of Nepal. We consider you all unofficial ambassadors of Nepal and expect an important role in disseminating information about Nepal and border Australians. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your gracious presence today. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you. Thank you so much.
For your welcome remarks. Without further ado, I now would like to move on to another speech for this evening. Now I invite the President of Non-Resident Nepali Association, Australia, Mr. Kesav Karel, who will briefly mention how the Nepali diaspora is responding to this catastrophic the emergency of this bushfire in Australia.
Thank you, Drupada ma'am. I acknowledge the traditional honors of this land where we stand today. I pay my respect to elders, past, present, and emerging. Honorable Minister for Tourism and CP Yogesh Bhattarai, Honorable Ambassador of Nepal to Australia Mahesh Dahal, Honorable Nathan Rees, former Premier of New South Wales, Honorable Henry Sang, OAM, Honorable Philip Rodder, Councillor Robert Cock, representing Lord Mayor of Sydney, NRNA seniors, past and present, NRNA colleagues, community leaders, community volunteers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. There is a very difficult discussion in our community should this program should have gone ahead or not. We have this for a long time, few days after the catastrophic bushfire. We did not know that this would happen while this program was scheduled. And the conclusion was, like when terrorists attack your country, you don't stop because terrorists attack. And we said we will not stop if the natural terror attacks us. We will go ahead, but in the way that we could help our nation, our second home, where we call home. As a migrants, we all come here to work or study, and then we make it a place to live, and then we call it home. Most of us here today are in the stage where we call Australia home, and our hearts are burning too. And we knew it as soon as it started. NRNA Australia, Non-Resident Nepali Association, which represents the Nepalese diaspora living in Australia. We started our fundraising effort a month ago. We had an initial target of $5,000, but we raised $20,000 and we handed it over to Commissioner St. Fitzsimmons a couple of weeks ago in Sydney, and I had a pleasure to come and meet him all the way from Melbourne, and the work he and his team has been doing marvelous. We just can't appreciate enough. I get a bit emotional because I came into NRNA leadership by being a volunteer, and I can understand what a volunteer has to go through, and I have that feeling how much that those firefighters who are fighting on this massive scale, they are leaving their families, their children at home, and then they're just going there and trying to save their houses, animals, and the person's life, and which they did it by choice, but they didn't have to do. And then we, as a Nepali community, we have got utmost respect for them. We have also started on this one. One thing what we learned is we have to join the volunteer firefighting things. That's what I learned from. That's what Commissioner St. Fitzsimmons was saying, that we need to get more volunteers on this regime. So we have started spreading the words, and I'm sure many of the Nepali have joined. I've got 2 live examples who have sent me an application form that they have sent it to the NSW RFS, but they have not been able to get the response. Of course, we understand why. When we see these firefighters, we actually like to compare them to Gurkhas, who we fought against the enemy for a long, long time. And the way we fought, the Gurkhas fought against the enemy, they are fighting with that courage and that bravery. And that's where we Nepali diaspora become more emotional as well. As a Nepali community, as a non-resident Nepali Australians, we have not stopped into 20,000. What we've been doing, we've handed over another 5,000 last weekend in South Australian bushfire. agency through the fundraising effort, and we have started in Victoria, Queensland, and Tasmania and Northern Territory, and that those funds will be distributed into the respective fire agencies on respective events. I had an opportunity to speak to Premier Daniel Andrews, and we were instructed not to collect the goods, so that we have not collected any goods. But what we will be doing in coming weeks, we'll be organizing mass blood donation, which is out of shortage. If you are thinking of donating the blood, this is the time. Go on and donate. If you sometimes just thinking is not enough. You just have to make that one last final step, make that selling. And trust me, I have donated it 47 times, and it's not that bad. It's very easy to donate. And at the end, according to the census data, Nepali community is the second highest employed migrant community in Australia. That's according to census 2016. And as a Nepali, we are proud of it, and we want to keep it alive. We want to actually go on number one. And this promotion is about Visit Nepal 2020, and you must be thinking, what the hell is he talking about? All about bushfire and this and that. All I want to say is Nepal is not only about Mount Everest and Lord Buddha. There are so many things. If you think you can't trek and you don't want to go, it's not like that. If you are not Buddhist and you don't want to go and see the place where Buddha was born, that's fine. You can visit other so many things. There is a lake which is on the highest part of the world called Tilicho Lake. I don't know if many of you know. Many of the places you can actually drive, although the roads are a bit scary, but you can still drive. That's fine. I'm sure Minister here will be looking after the infrastructure side of things, and then as an Australian hat owner, what I say is, as a proud Australian, what I request my minister here is to make those two things that Australians would probably care about most are the infrastructure and hygiene. I hope those are on order in Nepal now, so that when we go into the Kathmandu, everybody will be treated with utmost respect, and then the welcome speech. With the welcome feeling. At the end, all I want to say is, you don't have to visit Nepal in 2020 if you have already planned for somewhere else. If you visit, you can visit in 2021, 2022. But please visit Nepal as soon as you can. Thank you, and namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Kesav Khadim, for briefing us about the contributions and the response made by the Nepali diaspora in Australia in this context of emergency bushfire. And we would also like to thank you, and we request you to continue contributing this. And we have also, the members of Nepali diaspora have also arranged further donations in coordination with the Salvation Army and RSPPA. If you want to personally donate, you can contact to some of our volunteers over there. There? Okay, thank you. And thank you, Kesavji, for also explaining what Nepal has to offer for the tourists. Yes, it is a country. The famous Russian poet has mentioned that Nepal is like a diamond to be crafted. There are so many things. When you visit, you will see what is there. Along with this, now I would like to move on to another speech for this evening. Now I would like to invite Mr. Paul Ojeski, Assistant Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade.
Good evening. Before I begin, let me also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and to pay respect to elders past, present, and future. Let me also very respectfully but collectively acknowledge all the distinguished guests here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends of Nepal, on behalf of the Government of Australia, and in particular Senator Simon Birmingham, the Federal Minister for Trade, Investment and Tourism, I welcome Minister Yogesh Patare, Minister for Culture, Aviation and Tourism, to Australia, here to launch the Visit Nepal 2020 campaign. I also thank His Excellency Ambassador Dahal and his team hosting this event in Sydney, in a city that is well known to Australians and international tourists alike. This year, 2020, marks an important milestone in the bilateral relationship between Australia and Nepal. It is a year in which we celebrate the 60th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. It is a partnership underpinned by our most valuable assets, our people. The strong people-to-people links are evident in the over 50,000 Nepalese residents in Australia and the high level of Nepalese students choosing to further their education in Australia. In 2019, Australia hosted over 53,000 private Nepalese students, making Nepal our third largest source country for international students. The experience of these students often underpins their strong tourism flows as they return home with a positive experience of Australia and all it has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, Australia and Nepal currently have a strong and comparable two-way tourism flows, and they continue to grow. Australia receives 35,000 visitors from Nepal, or at least we did in 2019, an increase of over 10,000 from the previous year. Nepal receives 37,000 visitors from Australia in 37,000 visitors from Australia in 2019, an increase of over 6,000 from 2018. Both our countries have been blessed with remarkable natural landscapes, from our coral reefs to your mountain tops, and they remain a key attraction and core pillar of our tourism focus, as highlighted in your Visit Nepal 2020 Lifetime Experience campaign. It is with great sadness that we witness the destructive force of the bushfires on so many of our tourism areas, with devastating impacts on local communities. We hope they recover quickly, and we encourage tourists to return to these areas as soon as possible. Like Nepal, the Australian government is continually focused on ways we can further develop the tourism sector. Australia's Tourism 2020 policy was developed to respond to ongoing challenges and emerging opportunities for the Australian tourism industry. It provides a framework to assist tourism businesses remain competitive in the current dynamic global environment through encouraging high-quality tourism experiences, including Indigenous tourism, reducing or limiting the regulatory burdens faced by tourism industry, working with industry to support the development of tourism infrastructure that can drive demand, and providing a coordinated and effective marketing campaigns to drive demand. Tourism 2020 was focused on fostered an enabling environment for the tourism sector. Leveraging off that current strategy, we are now working collaboratively with industry and state and territory governments to develop a tourism strategy for the next 10 years, rather predictably called Tourism 2030. It will foster a shared, collaborative, inclusive strategy to be launched in early 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, tourism remains an important pillar of both our economies. As in Nepal, tourism is a key driver of Australia's economy. Australian GDP from tourism is worth some $61 billion annually, contributing 3% to Australia's economy compared to an estimated 6.8% contribution of the sector to Nepal's economy. It accounts for 8.2% of Australia's export earnings compared to 17% in the case of Nepal. It directly employs around 1 in 19 Australians, about 5% of our workforce. This compares to around 3% in the case of Nepal. Australia's experience demonstrates a significant flow-on benefits of a healthy, vibrant and forward-looking tourism sector. The benefits are spread across the country, with 43 cents in every tourism dollar being spent in regional Australia. Tourism also plays a key role in sustained and inclusive economic growth and supporting productive employment and decent work for many. This is a key element of Nepal's home strategy. Recognizing the contribution that tourism makes, Australia is particularly focused on strengthening tourism sector's role in promoting sustainable development, through addressing impediments to sustainable growth, and promoting tourism activities that benefit both visitors and local communities, and do not negatively impact on the natural environment, social fabric, or culture. Tourism Australia's Discover Aboriginal Experiences initiative is an excellent example of this approach. We are also focusing on development of small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs, which account for 95% of Australian tourism businesses. Sustainability of the tourism industry cannot occur without full access by SMEs. But these SMEs are also increasingly dependent on emerging digital technologies such as growing role of social media new payment platforms. So we are also focused on supporting the role of innovation and digital transformation. As tourism continues to grow in Australia, there is an increasing awareness of the need to ensure that tourism continues to be positively perceived by local communities. This has been characterised as tourism's social licence in the community's permission for businesses to operate in the community in which it exists. A key focus of addressing we are addressing is overcrowding by tourism and overburdening of resources at popular tourism destinations, something Nepal has experienced recently with hikers crowding the routes to base camps and other peaks in the Himalayas. The long-term viability and sustainability of our tourism sectors, including the natural attractions upon which they are built, is critical, and we welcome the Government of Nepal's focus on this. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you tonight, and I wish you all the success with your Visit Nepal 2020 campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul, for your beautiful words and briefly mentioning about the state of bilateral relations between Nepal and Australia. It's a beautiful coincidence that we are celebrating the 60th years of establishment of diplomatic relations between Nepal and Australia and the Visit Nepal 2020. We are planning to organize the programs and the events jointly to celebrate the 60th years and the Visit Nepal 2020 throughout the year. Thank you once again, Mr. Paul, for coming here and for delivering the speech. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Miss Caroline Tambachan, Miss Australia 2007, to kindly share her experience of Nepal. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see Nepal through the eyes of Miss Caroline, Miss Australia.
Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me, by the way? Yes. Yeah? Okay, great. We are just going to do a very quick technology change. Perfect. So, the reason I'm with you guys tonight is a very long-standing relationship that I've had with you all. I think when you think about travel and tourism, you think about experiences that you want to change you. You want to be awed, you want to go to have excitement, you want wonder. But it's actually few and far between these places that really transform your life. Now, I've, in my life, absolutely been transformed by Nepal, but in the years that have followed, I've spent 10 years as a travel TV presenter. I've been to over 65 countries. And yes, I've been moved by people, and yes, I've been moved by places. But no place has ever underwritten the course of my life, except Nepal. Wow. And it all started here, and I'm sure many of you will recognise this mountain. It all started in the heart of the Himalaya at Everest. I was a 18-year-old girl, and I set off on an adventure of a lifetime with my brother, who was 21 at the time. And he had sat down at our dining room table as a family and said, I want to become the youngest Australian to climb Mount Everest. And kudos to him, he raised the money, he organised the logistics, he got the experience, and we found ourselves in the heart of the Himalaya. The problem was, I couldn't even get there. This is me just outside Ferrochet. If you look, I know, how good's my outfit? Very becoming. But if you look closely, I'm actually in a basket. So, as I was trekking up just past Tengboche Hill, for those of you who have done this trek, just past Tengboche Hill, I actually twisted my ankle, and I heard all the ligaments in my right ankle snap. And I took my boot off, which was a big mistake because I couldn't get my foot back in the boot. But I found myself unable to walk up at Ferrochet, but I had a mission. I had a job to do. I was my brother's base camp manager, and at that time, this was way before organised expeditions really started. We didn't have the money, so I was doing all of his logistics. So there was no question that I had to go, wounded or not. Anyway, I was in a dilemma, and one of the Sherpa came to me. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm actually quite tall. I stand about 6 foot without shoes on, and I stood about 6 foot then too. And I was sitting in Ferrochet, and my Sherpa, my porter, who had been with me for the trek, he was a young guy, full of bravado, and he walked up to me and he said, "Miss, I'll carry you." And no offense, but I looked at him and I went, "I'm not sure how. I'm yay big and you're yay big." And he went, "No worries, get him a basket." And I said, "Well, how much?" He goes, $10 a day. And I went, "Sold. Done." So I got in the basket and I spent the next 2 days trekking up the valley. Well, he did. And I rode like a queen all the way into Everest Base Camp. I spent 8 weeks at the bottom of Everest, an incredible, living on a glacier, a moving living glacier. And it transformed me because I was one of the only women in base camp at the time. And our Sherpa, our expedition Sherpa, honestly, they gave their shirts off their back. Here I was, a young Sydney girl, going to a private school, had all the gear, no idea, and these guys would give me the shirt off their back. They would fill their hot water bottles, which if you're at altitude, you need to drink about 4 litres of water a day to stay hydrated. They would fill their hot water bottles, their personal drinking water bottles, and sneak them into my sleeping bag because they knew I got cold at night. So pretty incredible. So I came home and I was just dedicated. I was like, I'm going to raise money for some of the people that I have met over there. It was a time when the Khumbu didn't have quite as much tourism as it did today, and I started a fundraising journey. Oh, sorry. Meanwhile, on the 31st of May, my brother did summit. He was 21 years old at the time, and he held the record as the youngest Australian to summit Mount Everest for 12 years. So recently surpassed by another. And you know what he said to me when he was at the top of Everest? He said over the radio, he said, "Sis, it is not the mountain that I stand on that I can see, it is all the other mountains waiting to be climbed." And I still think that that is pretty amazing life advice. So pretty cool for a 21-year-old. Anyway, so how did I go from this dirtbag traveller to Miss Australia? Well, it surprised me as well. But I came back, I was determined that I was going to raise money. I started selling chocolates at my workplace and it just wasn't cutting it. And I went to a casting. I was a bit of a model because, again, I'm a beanstalk, very tall. And I went to a casting because my agent had called me and said, "If you don't go to the next casting, you're off the books, Caroline." And the next casting happened to be around the corner and it happened to be for Miss Australia. And I said, "Thank you very much. You don't know me, I'm a total tomboy. Thanks very much, I'm very flattered, but not for me." And I walked away. The pageant director called me a year later for Miss Australia and she said, "Have you got a cause that you're passionate about?" And I was like, "Funny you should say that. I'm raising money for a charity called Global Action Nepal." She said, "Well, if you call them as Miss Australia, you might get a little bit more leverage. But if you call them as Caroline Pemberton, you might not raise very much money." And she was right. And so I got involved in the pageant. I thought, I won't tell anyone. And the night came, the night of nights, and I stood at the back thinking I wasn't going to win, and they called out my name. "Miss Australia, is Caroline Pemberton?" And honestly, that moment, my brain just said, "Just smile." Yeah, smile. Anyway, that was an incredible journey. But had I not gone to Nepal, had I not had a cause I was passionate about, had I not taken a year off school, there's no way I would have become Miss Australia. And that totally changed the direction of my life. I travelled all over the world. One night I would be sitting, eating soup dinners at the soup kitchen with homeless people. The next night I'd be dining with presidents. It was a remarkable experience. And I spent, that year doing that and raising money, and it was wonderful. And then I got myself into television and enjoyed 10 years as a travel TV presenter. And then recently I was able to decide on what production I wanted to make. Got to a position where I could make my own TV series, and I thought, I want to take someone on a transformative journey. Where did I take them? Nepal. Let's take a look. Oh, you have to watch it.
We live in a world of hyperconnectivity where devices outnumber the world population and our addiction knows no bounds. 12% of us use our phones in the shower and 1 in 5 of us check them during sex. But even the average user will spend 35,000 hours of their life looking down at a cell phone. Every waking moment we put our priorities away. The first kiss good morning, moments with our family and friends. And we're teaching our children that this is how the world is. It's not technology that's the problem, it's how we use it. Do you really want to base your self-worth on how many likes you have on a filtered selfie? Trust me, I know all about that side of the coin. I'm Caroline, and once upon a time I was Miss Australia, and projecting the perfect image was my job. It didn't matter how many pictures were taken and posted, no one knew me any better, and the more time I spent on this, the more superficial life became. Gary Hagan is 28, unemployed and lives entirely off the support of his parents. He spends 18 hours every day attached to his technology.
Seems to be a recurring theme for me. I don't know where to start. I feel uncomfortable, feel anxiety, and doing the same thing over and over, just watching TV, playing video games, and I just kind of feel lost.
He's a good person. He's just out of focus. It's just sometimes you just need a little, a little push to get you going.
To shake him out of his habits, we're taking him somewhere he's only ever been on Instagram and YouTube.
Love you.
Love you too.
Hope you find a way. I hope so too.
Somewhere he'll have zero access to any devices.
Give me the phone.
Alright, I'm ready. I'll give it a shot. Got nothing else to lose.
The remote foothills of the Himalaya in Nepal.
I am not the person that would ever come to Nepal. I would never even trust random people to take me here. The culture shock, I'm feeling that shock. There's no one on their phones here.
On an 8-day trek, we'll summit mountains and tackle glacial rivers.
I'm actually so overwhelmed. I don't even know where I'm going on this trip.
To see if getting lost can lead to finding something deeper. After you. Come on, Gary.
What do you want me to do? I can't.
It's about dedication.
What the fuck am I doing? What type of tent is this? I have no idea.
Because the mountains,
How much do you hate me?
I'm tired, I'm cold. I hate you.
the river,
The hardest thing I've ever done in my life. How did I do that?
the world, as challenging as it is beautiful, has more colour than pixels could ever show.
Please.
More real connection than any social media.
It makes me feel alive.
More prevalent than any video game.
Don't give up now.
And even if it's only every now and again, it's good to remember that.
This is it. I feel like it was designed for me. It was made to cure all my anxiety.
It's so good.
I gotta be so proud. I've just become the person that I wanted to be. This is just unreal.
Before we forget how to see a world beyond the screen,
I also was. I don't miss my phone. I don't miss my phone.
before we forget how to just look each other in the eye and how good that can feel,
Why do I make me anxious? It's not me.
maybe it's time to get unplugged.
I think I'm gonna take this adventure stuff with me.
So when it
I'm
came
taking it now.
When it came to creating my own TV show, I knew that the one place where I was was Nepal. So 28-year-old Gary came home and he did quit all of his devices. Remember, he was spending 18 hours every day attached to his cell phone and his iPad and his computer. And he got a job and he moved out of home and he's now an accountant. And he's still living in New York. And he actually emailed me today and said, remember when we went to Nepal? And I said, yes. But, anyway, to digress, I don't think any story is quite complete without a love interest, right? So I'm going to share with you the juiciest part of my Nepal story, the part that totally stole my heart. Rewinding back to 2005, when the young 19-year-old Caroline, way before Miss Australia, way before the TV career, was just a kid sister supporting her brother, I met a young American mountain guide called Mike. There he is in the picture. Anyway, this young American mountain guide and I, we had a little rendezvous under the stars at Everest Base Camp. We shared a little kiss after a very tough expedition. And we came down the mountain and I went back to Sydney and he flew to Seattle. And I thought, well, that was fun. It was a good holiday romance. He was very gorgeous, but we live on opposite sides of the planet. But he held a flame for me for 10 years. And every year he would write to me and he'd say, hey, I'm climbing this mountain, like a mountain guide, climbing this mountain, meet me. I can't talk right now. here for you when you're ready. 3 weeks later, he wrote me an email I will never forget. And in it he said, "In the face of such loss and tragedy, you do not live with unanswered questions and regrets, and I have loved you for 10 years, give me a shot." Anyway, I said to him, well, I'm very flattered, but, I'm not the girl I was 10 years ago. A lot's changed. You've probably fallen in love with the idea of me, And he said to me, "I guarantee you it'll be great." And I thought, who is this guy? So I said, "Well, get on a plane then." And down he flew to Sydney. "Oh no, we're not ready yet. We're not ready yet. Andrew, you're going too quick." Okay, well, watch the video. He would kill me for showing you this, but he's in a touch with it. So a kiss under the stars at Mount Everest led me to marry a lovely American chap. And it was interesting, we did meet there, we fell in love there, we kept coming back. And again, I've been all over the world. But not only was my career built in Nepal, my love life was built in Nepal. And his career, I may be running out of time, but I'm going to steal a little. And his career was built in Nepal. And, as a mountain guide, one of the problems was, well, he keeps guiding, how do we, have a family, start getting down here in Australia. So we started up our own business, which I'd love to share with you a little bit more great imagery from Nepal if I can, and his story.
I was just a teenager. I started reading stories of the high Himalayas and famous mountaineers like Reinhold Messner. I wanted to follow in their footsteps. That's all I wanted to do, was travel the world and climb big peaks. It's human nature to explore. The 7 summits are the tallest peak on each continent, and on the 7 summits specifically, it's not to be underestimated. But for me, the bigger the peak, the better. The more I have to give of myself, the more I have to put into it, the more emotional it is for me. So being on the summit of a big peak, I really feel a sense of being in touch with something more. It's so hard to sum up in words. It's an experience that people need to have. It's sort of this sense of wonder, this sense of something bigger. And that's what I try and bring to my clients' lives as well. I'm incredibly inspired by these mountains, and being inspired means inspiring others and seeing that smile on people's faces. And that's really my goal, to get people from all different walks of life that are climbing for different reasons. Everyone needs to climb the mountain for themselves. It teaches you a lot about yourself, and it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Risk is part of it, but we can mitigate those risks and give people these amazing experiences. And it's just the most incredible feeling standing on top. And it's not the view, it's that sense of accomplishment. It's very powerful. Powerful for all the clients that I bring up there. I love it, and I'm still doing it for a reason.
So we started a mountaineering company. This mountain guide and I know that there's a lot of controversy around Everest and the amount of people that are climbing and the crowded pictures that we see in the media. But these mountains have an incredible draw, and they have a transformational power, and if you do it responsibly, you can do it really well. Our business now puts over $1 million every year into Nepal's economy. And the children that I was raising money for all those years ago, now we actually divert some of our profits from our business into our own charity called Tiger Reserve Fund, and that educates children of outdoor tourism workers in Nepal. So any Sherpa that might be killed, for instance, in the ice fall, we now support a lot of their kids and education there. And the reason that I very, very rudely jumped the queue and took our former Premier's spot up here, who's said to be speaking, and stood there is because I actually have to get home to a 3-month-old daughter. And her middle name is Maya, which means love. So when you see that tagline up there, Visit Nepal 2020, experience lifetime experiences, for me, Nepal literally wrote my life story. And my story is my most valuable asset. So hopefully many of you guys will feel the same way and have your stories written in Nepal like I have.
Thank you, Kylie. I'm speechless now. We saw through a video and through a voice. We say everything. We share everything. Thank you once again, Caroline, for sharing your wonderful experience with us today. Thank you. I would like to move on to some speech, a few more speech we have. And now I have the pleasure to invite the Honourable Nathan Reed, former Premier of New South Wales, for his speech.
Well, thank you very much. And before you go, Carolyn, I'm going to break the protocol and thank you in advance of thanking the visiting dignitaries and ministers for an extraordinary expose of what was only what can only be described as a deeply personal journey for you. So thank you very much, and thank you for sharing it.
And thanks for letting me.
Look, at the outset, can I acknowledge and thank our guest this evening, Your Excellencies, our Ambassador and Consul General for Nepal in Australia and in Sydney. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Our Minister, who's here today. It's the second time we've caught up today, and I think you're here for another 48 hours. Is that right? So I hope Sydney looks after you while you're here. You are most welcome in our city, and I hope that you're extended all the courtesies and privileges that your office is entitled to. Thank you for coming along, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Councillor Philip Ruddock, the Honourable Philip Ruddock, who has delivered more than 40 years of sterling service to the Australian Parliament and the Australian people. A gentleman who was a member for Parliament in the area that I went to school at when I was a young boy, but who has delivered absolutely sterling service for Australians. Thank you, Philip, for being here this evening. Great to see you. Councillor Robert Cox from City of Sydney, great to see you here this evening, and thank you for your attendance. Our representatives from DFAT, and you're dotted around the place, but can I say that our officials from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in Australia are absolutely extraordinary. They do incredible work right around the globe and are an unsung asset to Australia. And I thank you for your contribution this evening and also for the work that you do throughout the world. My good friends, Harish Belgi, and Gobar and Ganesh, and Kingsley Perry, are you around somewhere? Kingsley up the back there, great to see you here too. Look, this is an event that is overdue, and I don't mean the launch of the tourism campaign. That is sensational, and off the back of Carolyn's extraordinary entreaty, we will all be in Nepal at some time in the near future. I plan to be there in March or April. But this gathering is overdue. Despite 60 years of diplomatic relations with Nepal, Australia has to do more, and we are here joined at the hip with you to do more of that. Lots of people from Nepal now living in Australia, lots of people from Nepal now studying in Australia, working in Australia, and we want to do more of that with you. The arrangement here is very simple. You're great people, you have a great nation, we live next to each other and we need to do more of it. It's as simple as that. I'm delighted to be here this evening, I'm delighted to be part of an exercise that puts more concerted effort into building the relationship between Nepal and Australia, and I thank you all for being here this evening, thank you for your contribution to Australia today, and look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Honourable American Prince, for your beautiful speech. And I hope when you travel in March to Nepal, you will have the similar experience. If you manage to travel outside of Kathmandu Valley as well, we have beautiful cities, Pokhara, Chitwan, and other places as well. Thank you once again. Now I have the honour to invite the Honourable Philip Broderick, former Minister for Immigration, Mayor of Hornsby, and the President of the Liberal Party, New South Wales, for his speech.
Well, thank you very much. Can I first share in the acknowledgement of country and pay my respects to our Aboriginal forebears, past and present. Can I acknowledge particularly our visiting minister? You're welcome here in Australia, delighted to see you. Ambassador and your team, Consul General from Sydney, but our other consuls and honorary consuls, I'm delighted to see you all. Can I acknowledge particularly, as I do, Premier Nathan Rees, and I acknowledge your other colleagues, Helen Shamho, Henry Sang, who are here. And can I say how delighted I am to be able to be with so many very, very distinguished Australians. What impressed me most, I might say, and it's been a very competitive night for speeches, was to hear of the contributions that were being elicited from Nepalese people in Australia who helped their fellow Australians in the context of the fires that we have faced. I am very much in the Shire of Hornsby, worried every day at the prospect of fires that might reach us here. And to see the way in which Australians respond in that situation makes me very proud of Australia. But nothing makes me prouder than when I come together with my Australian friends, as I do here tonight, who say, we are just as much Australian as you, and we are committed to helping you in making Australia a better place. Can I say thank you, thank you, thank you. You have acknowledged that I have, in another life, played a role in relation to what I call nation building and putting in place the building blocks for Australia's future. Australia is a remarkable country because we have brought together millions of people from all over the world. And we do say a number of things about that process, because we can be justifiably proud that with something of the order of 25% of Australians overseas born, that we function together as a whole. We are a nation that says if you are Australian, you are just as much Australian as anybody else. But we also say that you do not have to forget where you come from. And you are justifiably proud as Nepalese Australians to be proud of Nepal in the way in which you have demonstrated tonight. And I say to people, wherever they're from, you don't forget your roots, your heritage, your culture, and you should share it with us. Tonight is a remarkable night of sharing. sharing, a very challenging night of sharing, and I am sure it will do a great deal to build a very effective relationship between Australia and Nepal in the years to come. Thank you for making me welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Philip Rodder, for your wonderful and inspiring speech.
One day I'll be here.
Now we have come to the very important segment of this evening, and I have the distinct honor to invite the Honorable Yogesh Kumar Bhattrai, Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, to deliver his special remarks.
Honorable Nathamari, former Premier of NSW, Honorable Councillor Philip, Mayor of Honolulu NSW, Mr. Paul, Assistant Secretary, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Ambassador of Nepal, His Excellency Maestar, Honorable Council General, Vice President of NRNA ICC, President of NRNA Australia, friends of Nepal, member of Nepalese diaspora, friends from media, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and namaste. Before I begin, I extend my deepest sympathy to the families and loved ones of those who died and have been affected by tragic bushfire in Australia. Our thought and prayers are with the men and the women, the families and friends of all firefighters and volunteers who are standing for rescue the affected people by the bushfire. I would like to convey my government's profound solidarity and the full support for the continued impressive fight against the catastrophic bushfire. My sincere thanks goes to the Embassy, Honorary Councillor, NRNA, and the Nepali Community Organization for organizing this program today in context of official launching of Visit Nepal year 2020 from Australia. The objectives of my visit this time in my capacity of Tourism Minister of Nepal is to promote bilateral ties and increase people-to-people relations between Nepal and Australia, inviting more Australians to Nepal. Australia, who has proved as the true and reliable development partner of Nepal, has been by us in different modes of history, and Nepal is familiar to almost all Australians. We have recently launched the Visit Nepal Year campaign 2020, the year-long campaign for promoting Nepal's tourism and help the country graduate from the least developed country status. We are planning to go on 10-year mega campaigning for the country's tourism promotion. We aim to make 2020 a year heralding the decade of transformation toward 2030. Our aim is not only to welcome 2 million tourists in 2020, but also to make their stay safe, secure, and comfortable. Our focus is now in improving tourism transport infrastructure. Considering this particular attention has been in building infrastructure such as roads, airports, and hotels across the country. two international airports in the beautiful city of Pokhara and birthplace of Lord Buddha in Bhaira are about to finish construction, and another international airport in Nisgar is under construction. Upgrades and begin the made to the existing airport, both international and domestic. I keep on saying, if we form that Nepal has something to offer to everyone. It offers all kinds of tourism products and activities, such as nature, culture, adventure, spiritual, and playgrounds. It has something for everybody, be it mountain climbers, trekkers, adventure lovers, and those looking for natural beauty. Historian and scholar, it doesn't disappoint anyone. It is a sport where we can visit all year around. Pleasant weather, cheaper accommodation, food and travel costs, safety of visitors, and visa on arrival are added benefits for the visitors. The country, which boasts of the sky-high Himalayas, including the top of the old Mount Everest and 8 of the world's highest mountains, is considered as a trekking paradise. The birthplace of Lord Buddha, Nepal also boasts 10 landmark UNESCO World Heritage Site in the rich of flora and fauna as well as cultural attractions. Distinguished guests, the country has been featured in one of the most renowned magazine, Forbes, as one of the best places to visit in 2020 at Ghandur, the beautiful place in western part of the country, has been enlisted as one of the top 13 most beautiful touristic destinations in Asia. After I joined the ministry in July last year, I have been regularly discussing with the concerned private sector such as the hotel association, travel and tourist agent, trekking and rafting agencies, and major airlines operator, and they are coming up with a special package and have offered concession in their service in 2020. I also take this opportunity to share that several new hotels are coming into the operation in different cities, and international chains like Sheraton, Marriott, and Hilton have also started their service in Nepal. Major historical and cultural sites that were destroyed by the 2015 earthquake have also been repaired. Distinguished guests, the naturally beautiful Nepal has a good history of hosting Australians. For the number of tourists visiting Nepal in recent years is not satisfactory. We are hopeful that the number will rise starting this year. As we are celebrating the 16th year of the establishment of diplomatic relations with Australia, the event celebrated this year will help to bring Nepal among more Australian friends. The country has now embarked on the journey of economic development with utmost focus on development and prosperity. As Nepal has limited internal resources, we are seeking for enhanced level of foreign investment. Investment in Nepal tourism sector remaining one of the lucrative areas. Recently, concluded air service agreement between Nepal and Australia offer the opportunity for direct air flight connections between Nepal and Australia, which will make travel to Nepal easier and convenient. Ladies and gentlemen, I am thankful to the Nepali diaspora living here in Australia, including students who have had a significant part in strengthening the friendly bond between Nepal and Australia. The role of diaspora is important more today than ever, expected to make this Visit Nepal 2020 campaign a success. Distinguished guests, as the Tourism Minister of Nepal, I would like to extend to you all a very warm invitation to visit Nepal at your convenience, as Nepal is a must-visit destination in one's lifetime. I take this opportunity to request traveler and tour operator to enlist and publicize Nepal as a popular tourist destination and encourage Australian visitors to visit Nepal. Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you joining us this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your speech. Thank you. You have mentioned about some special packages and